The Tet Offensive stands out as a pivotal moment in the Vietnam War, initiated by the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese forces on January 30, 1968. This ambitious series of surprise attacks during the Tet holiday, the Vietnamese New Year, targeted more than 100 cities and towns across South Vietnam, aiming to overturn the military stalemate that had characterized the conflict until then. Despite the presence of nearly 500,000 U.S. troops in Vietnam by the end of 1967, North Vietnamese leaders hoped that a significant offensive would catalyze a general uprising, undermine the South Vietnamese government, and push the United States to reconsider its involvement in the war. The offensive's execution took both South Vietnamese and U.S. forces by surprise, with dramatic attacks even reaching the U.S. Embassy in Saigon, symbolizing the breadth and depth of the assault. However, the anticipated uprising among the South Vietnamese populace did not materialize, and the attackers suffered heavy casualties without managing to hold on to their significant targets. Cities like Hue and Saigon became battlegrounds, with Hue, the ancient imperial capital, witnessing some of the most prolonged and brutal fighting before being recaptured by U.S. and South Vietnamese forces. Despite these tactical failures, the Tet Offensive had profound strategic and psychological impacts. It shattered the prevailing narrative of imminent victory propagated by U.S. military leaders and policymakers, revealing the tenacity and capability of the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. The American public, exposed to the shocking images and reports from Vietnam, began to question the war's justification and the U.S. government's optimistic assessments of the conflict's progress. This shift in perception marked a turning point in the Vietnam War, leading to diminished U.S. public support and significant political consequences, including President Lyndon B. Johnson's decision not to seek re-election. The offensive underscored the quagmire that Vietnam had become for the United States and paved the way for a gradual shift towards Vietnamization, which sought to increase the combat role of South Vietnamese forces and reduce U.S. involvement. In retrospect, the Tet Offensive illustrates the complexity of military success and its perception. Militarily, it was a setback for the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong, yet it succeeded in altering the war's trajectory by undermining U.S. public support and contributing to a strategic re-evaluation of the U.S. role in Vietnam. This event underscores the interplay between military action and psychological impact, highlighting how perceived defeat can translate into strategic advantage, eventually influencing the negotiation table and the eventual withdrawal of U.S. troops from Vietnam.